All right, we are here. Yeah, man, it's been a very long time. Holy shit!
It has been. You've been, dicking around, writing a book and fucking
traveling and all kinds of shit. So
playing with the bodyguard shit. So I guess we got a lot to cover today. So
yeah. So dude. So you had Ton up by you? That's how you pronounce it.
Yes.
Okay.
Guy flew in from Curacao.
Okay.
And of course, it's raining here every goddamn day, and the temperature's in at 10 or 11 degrees. He's like, "Tell me you don't think this is warm, right?" Because he's used to 30 degrees.
Right.
But you know what? We had an amazing time. I mean, as you know, he's been studying with us for quite a while. So it was the opportunity to really kind of pressure test everything that we've been talking about over the years, right?
So you've been training him online as well, live. So you've been
I've been training him online, I guess, for the last year and a half, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So and it's kind of awesome, right? Because online you have a lot of questions. Will this work? Will that work? What about this? What about the position of the body? I'm like, you know what? You need that little bit of live training just so you can feel it. And
for sure. Especially if you don't have some people get it and understand it. I don't know. You don't know really how he's practicing either, but it's like, if you have a base of some type of combative sport or martial art, you'll kind of understand how the body works. Again, I don't know what his experience is like. But once you start getting, especially when you start getting into the more, the deeper, I mean, the basic stuff is the basic stuff, but it's like, when you start getting deeper and shit and you want to poke around, I mean, you gotta feel it for sure.
And this is the really cool thing, right? Because so about a month and a bit ago, I ordered a couple training vests from Combative Training Gear, awesome company over in Germany. Finally got the vest to show up the day he came. So so we broke those bad boys out, and it's funny, you probably see the video. We were testing it with a hammer. So stupid me, I said to the woman here, I'm like, I need you to hit this because we need to see how much it could take, right? She's like, well, I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to, hit it with my fists or my knees or anything like that. I'm like, well, what do you think? And so she grabs a hammer, doesn't give me any fucking warning, and bring it to the chest with it. I'm like, thank God this thing fucking worked.
Do you have any of those videos ready you can share?
Let me just take a look.
Bringing it on you, but we're talking about it. I'd like to see it.
Let me just see if I can kind of pull one up. Am I able to share my screen? I'm pretty sure I can probably share my screen from this, right?
You can, It's a little it's present now. It's a little arrow in the box underneath.
I'm just gonna see where that would actually be. Oh, beautiful. I can see that. Okay, cool. So let me just go into this and then I'll bring it up. All right, so let me just. I just want to hold this and pause it for a second. Okay.
Right.
There we go. We got it paused. All right. So let me pull this up. Fucking technology. Share screen. Okay.
You got it.
All right. So can you see this okay?
Yeah, I can.
All right. So here we are. Remember this? I had already tested it once with a hammer before we did this, and it didn't cave it in. You'll see. So you can see she's not really holding back with it.
Right.
Yeah. If I left her with that, she'd fucking use it all day.
Now, does that have any headgear with it or just the chest?
No, so I got just the chest with it. I already have some headgear, and I'll talk about that in just a moment.
Yeah, I remember that.
Let me unscreen share this for a minute. So
I mean, it's still what's good about that. I mean, because people are like, okay, we're generally not directing strikes to the chest, but instead of holding a pad, that enables them to, but it's not like we're really doing body blows, but it'll enable them to actually hit a moving target that's coming into them.
Yeah, and one thing that we were able to do is we kind of tested it with just throwing some basic palm strikes. which was actually really cool. So yeah, we have the face gear on, right, in case somebody misses. But at the end of the day, we were able to deliver those palm strikes. And where it was really, really helpful is when we were in the ECQ room, the extreme close quarters room that I created. And that's all padded walls, right? And when he was grabbing me,
can you give a tour of the room?
Why not?
Okay, let's do that.
Why not? Let me just head back there. So anyway, so I had the headgear. We put on some like MMA gloves just to like soften the blows a little bit, because at the end of the day, we're not here to knock each other out, right?
Right.
But I mean, we were going at each other, to show just how effective the techniques are and how simple it actually is with utilizing one defense over a multitude of attacks, especially when we hit the grabs and holds, right?
Right.
You can't stop and think about all these different ones. So let me show you here. We're gonna.
So how was you broke up a little bit, but how was what was Ton's overall feeling?
He absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
absolutely loved it. So here is the room. You can see it's a very small room. We got the padded walls, right?
Right.
I'm gonna walk in and see how much you can actually see here. Padded back wall, padded side wall. So almost imagine being in like an elevator, right? And then there's the pad on the floor, which we pull out.
Right.
For when we need that, or for when we're going to the ground. But what you see is what you see. It's just this little tiny. See if you can kind of see it. That's the door there. That's why. So it's just a nice tiny little room that we use to get nice and personal.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, really, really simple.
Right. So we were working, grabs and holds, and how a lot of places focus on that fucking zombie choke or zombie grab where everything works when your arms are like extended right out in front of you. Well, we were doing it from a real in-your-face sort of jacked up position, like the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
And then, grabbing and slamming each other into the wall and following up with attacks and everything. So it was really, really cool. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely. He enjoyed it. So it opened his eyes. It really opened his eyes. We started day one with strikes. Like the whole time that we were together was just strikes, right?
Without the basics, everything's basics. So that's, if they're not right, then ain't nothing going to be right.
Well, exactly. We were working it on the pads. We were working on the bob. We were working on a heavy bag. So a couple of different options, right? And then we went day 2, we went into ground. Day 3, we went into weapons defense with a little bit of offense to finish. Day 4 was grabs and holds. And then day 5 was reviewing everything.
Okay, great. And then how long were the sessions with them?
Originally, we had planned to go about 4 or 5 hours. We were going about 2.5 because it was private, right? So when you're doing it just one-on-one, A, you're physical, and B, you can only cover so much in a certain period of time before your brain starts to get a little like, okay.
And this is what instructors need to understand. It's different if you're teaching a class of 10 people versus a class of 3 people, you're going through this, and, the class of 10 people gets a mental and physical break 3 more times than the class of 3 people.
Correct.
So, right. So you're going through this with one guy, one student, and it's like, maybe you get, if you can get 50 minutes out of them, it's good. If you could stretch it out to a couple hours, that's amazing. But other than that, I'm like, you can't. I'm like,
exactly. And we were able to stretch it out because when we first started, we would start the session with a bit of yoga just to kind of warm up the body and get good to go. And then it was a review from the day before. And then it was just warm up with, hitting some stuff each day, right? Hit the bob, hit the bag, hit the pads, get the blood flowing. And then let's start to put these into some kind of scenario.
Right. Right. And then, once you understand, like, oh, wow, just position, distance, whatever we're doing. Yep. And then you're like, oh my God, this is so much easier than everything. And I think, what happens is that people even approach this from that martial arts mindset, where they're needing to kind of like think of each individual technique and defense. Yep. When in reality, we're doing it the other way. We're teaching you one thing to put against a lot of things. So,
and that was the biggest takeaway for him on that day, was the fact that it didn't matter how I grabbed you when I was in close. The
right,
defense never changed, and it can't change, right?
right. No, of course not. Right.
And this is the thing that he was so amazed by, because he's had training with some other instructors in different reality-based systems, and well, if he grabs you this way, you do this. If he grabs you this way, you do this. If he grabs you that way, you do that. You don't fucking have time to think about that, right?
Right.
And as an example, I had put on one of the gloves, and I said to him, "Okay, I'm going to grab you, and you just use the defense that you're thinking about." So I grabbed, and as soon as I grabbed, I came in with a hook like that.
Right.
And he's like, "What the fuck?" type of thing, right? And it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's the assault, dude. Like, not the grab, right? So you need to be ready for actual assault.
When you get that, where like the initial grab is not the attack, and that's where it's like, dude, it's still the same bullshit. And this is what I'm talking about on the introduction to the fast course page. I mean, technically the sales page, but it's like, it's the same shit we were forced to learn in karate class over 30 years ago. To say, he grabs my wrist, I go to the wrist. He grabs my collar, I go, who gives a shit about that? It doesn't matter. It's not hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, people, it's like, if you should get it right away and see that. But some people, if you're watching something, you're distracted, and it's such a small, it doesn't require a large explanation.
That's right.
Right. It's like, ignore the initial grab.
Yeah.
All right. Attack the man.
And it takes the explanation even more out of it when we did it, for example, here. And the reason why I say that is because the grabs that I was doing, were against like a wall, right? We're against some kind of barrier, which is very common out in the street. People are going to push you up into something. You're on a bucket bar. They're going to be against a wall or whatever, right? So adding that, realism into it, they can realize, oh shit, yeah, all I needed to do was just not focus on this grab. Like, I just had him like, fucking, dude, your arms are like right here. Grab me by the fucking head, slam me into the wall, start using hammer fist, palms, whatever, beat me down. Right. And he's like, well, that makes complete sense. I'm like, of course it does, because it's reality.
And again, when you're in that fight or flight, you're only going to be able to do a couple things.
Yes.
You want it aggressive and vicious. And then once you're moving, and let's face it, I mean, the more you're in those situations, the more you're going to be able to do, if you will, because you start to get stress inoculated to it. This is why street fighters are good street fighters, man. Because they've been in street fights, real street fights, not glorified sparring bullshit where it's like you and a neighborhood guy or your buddy you fight at school. So we're not trying to really fuck each other up and kill each other.
Exactly.
This is like, again, some brutal son of a bitch who just wants to fuck it. He's going to do whatever it takes. So, you're in more of those situations. You'll be able to, you're in more, you'll be able to do more. Most people don't. You can tell by the vast majority of instructors and people who are giving all these fucking things likes on whatever social media you're on, have never been in a fight or reflected, their real life experience against, what they're teaching and what they actually did. Because some of them, I've known tough son of a bitches who would, like, a guy grabs them in the street, they just beat the shit, they just start hammering them. And then in the fucking dojo, they're teaching some complicated wrist lock.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, didn't you just look at what you did? I'm like, and they draw so they'll draw. There is not a direct line to what you're training in the dojo to what you're doing in the street. The only thing I will say is that the person who's willing to put themselves through hard training, to put themselves to make themselves physically uncomfortable, to challenge themselves, and to have the discipline to do something on a regular basis, that will and discipline to do it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. That's what saves you. That physical fitness level and that overall toughness of punishing yourself. Whether, look, man, you could be doing a keto and taking, thousands of break falls, doing karate, sitting in form, but I just, that to me, though, from a training perspective and being, pragmatic, is it's such a convoluted point A to point B. It's bullshit. Why don't you put that effort and um drive into something that actually is going to work?
Yes.
So there, that's where we come in. And and that's like, these your people like, look, dude, like, you want to sit there and practice your nunchucks, or do you want to practice actually hitting something the way you would in the street and developing toughness and your and quickness and doing exactly what you should do? Man, I mean, there's like 3/4 of that shit, dude. Go work out, lift weights, run, get in physical shape.
Yep.
Rather than practicing whatever your round kick in the air. So I just, it's like, it's what's the best use of your time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, it sounds great. I mean, I was watching the instructor chat on the thread.
Yeah, threw in some stuff in there, and there's they're getting a little bit more interactive now with things, which is awesome to see. We're pointing them in the right direction of where they can get some pretty decent equipment, because I mean, you don't need a ton, guys. Like, a good pair of pads, man, is really all you need.
That's why it's like, you could teach it. You train anywhere, and if you're by yourself, just get a fucking training dummy and we show you how to set it up.
Yep.
It's like, literally, the basic expense is the training dummy. The rest is like bricks and some other shit. I mean, you can pick stuff up at the hardware store. I mean, it's really not a big deal. So yeah, dude. So what's been going up there in the Great White North?
Oh, well, fuck. It's the weather today is finally nice.
Yeah, just a ton left. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so between training with Antonius, and then I started that BFR training certification course. I'm about a third of the way through that now. Finished the first online portion. I still have another 6-hour lab to go through, and then the final exam. But it's recognized by the University of Tennessee. Really, really cool. I'm really actually enjoying this program.
Well, that guy, the professor that did that, he was on Rogan.
Yes,
the guy from U of T. So I've heard him speak before. So do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, we could absolutely talk about it.
So let's go into first tell them what BFRT is.
Okay, so we're talking about blood flow restriction training, right? So this has been going on since about the 60s. It was developed in Japan, but it's relatively newer here. It's taking a real people are taking a real interest in it. It was originally used for like rehabilitation and that kind of thing. So the idea is you're going to use some kind of band or cuff or object to occlude around the tops of the arms, tops of the legs, right? And what this allows you to do is it allows you to use, for some people, no weights, but other people lower loads to achieve the same kind of results as they would with higher loads. So rather than beating the shit out of yourself with, a higher, like what I'm using right now when I work out is I'm using 50% occlusion, and I'm using like 20 to 30% of my 1 rep max.
Okay.
And I'm getting the same results as I would be if I was using about 80 to 85% of my 1 rep max. So I'm not beating the crap out of my body.
Right.
Which is awesome for people who are, obviously getting older, or people who are just unable to lift heavy because of injury or whatnot.
Right. So if everyone understands that, so you're lifting, so the blood restriction puts more strain on your muscles, right?
Yeah.
You're getting this correctly. And then it's giving you the same effects as if you were lifting heavier weight without doing damage to your joints and tendons and things like that. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So you see people back in there, you might see people at the gym where they might, it almost looks like a tourniquet around their arm, right? Like,
right.
Or just take a regular band. And I don't recommend a regular band. They might do it right over their bicep. Not the place to do it. You want to do it right up, kind of like in this area right here, right?
Oh, up here, yeah. Not here.
Exactly.
All right. So I'll be honest with you. I've made the mistake. I was doing it here, and I want to do it up here.
You want to get it as close as you possibly can.
As possible. Okay.
Right by that armpit. Yeah.
And what kind of band? What do the bands look like that you're doing? Do you have them there, or can you show them?
I can grab them. That's not a problem.
And you're just, so what's the difference between the weight training workout you're doing now and what you would normally do without the bands?
Yeah, I'll go through it in a second here, see if I get away from these suckers. Don't want to be on the call. All right. So first, let me just kind of show you the band that I'm using. So you can get bands off like eBay, Amazon, crap like that, right? I'm using a company called Rock Cuffs.
That's R-U-K or R-U-C-K?
R-O-C-K.
R-O-C-K.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you see is, here is the band itself with the little dial on it, right? For tightening it up. Can you kind of see that?
I can.
Okay. And then it just goes right. It just goes right around the arm, right? So it'll rest up right along here, and then you just turn the dial while you're doing the workout. You pop it and then derotate in order to release it.
So you put them on and then you turn it on. You put it on during the workout. You turn it up.
So there's a couple of different ways that people do it. The more traditional way of doing it is you put it on for your first set. So say you're doing the 30, 15, 15, 15. So you're doing 30. So let's talk about biceps. You're doing biceps. You're doing 30 curls. Then you're doing 15, 15, and 15. Okay. You'll jack it up or power it up before you start.
Yeah.
You'll do your first set. You'll wait 30 seconds, still leave it occluded. You'll do your next set, wait 30 seconds, do your next set, wait 30 seconds, do your next set, wait 30 seconds, and then pop it. Wait about 60 seconds or so before you move on to the next exercise.
Oh, so you're popping it between each exercise.
Yeah, well, this is a traditional way of doing it, popping it between the different exercises, correct.
Okay.
What I've been doing with these, because of the research, is you can leave these occluded for up to 24 minutes, right? So they recommend longer than 5 minutes, but up no longer than 24 minutes. So I actually leave mine, I do 3 a day, I do 3 a week with weights right now, and I break it into upper and lower body. So my upper body takes me about 20 minutes, so I leave it occluded for that whole time. And then I pop it at the end of that. I give myself about 5 minutes, and then I do my lower body. But I still have both uppers and lowers occluded, even when I'm doing just upper or just lower. So that's how I've been using that. And that gives me about 35 to 40 minutes. And now I'm starting to also use them when I do the yoga. So I'm finding a 20 to 25 minute yoga session, not including the cool down. And then I just leave them occluded for that whole period of time.
Okay, cool. And
then go ahead.
No. So, what was I going to say? So even when you're not doing resistance exercise, you're using them.
Yeah, I'm using them for yoga. You could also use them just going out and doing a walk. There's a lot of different things that you can use them for. Some people in rehabilitation, they just use them without even exercise. They'll just leave them on for a certain period of time because that does help. There's so much science behind it. I'm trying to wrap my head around a lot of it. But they will use that with patients who are trying to recover and build hypertrophy.
Right.
Which, I mean, obviously is the go-to, right? So as far as the type of workouts with this, what I'll do is, like I said, so it's 3 days. I'll do 4 exercises for my upper body, and then I'll do 3 for my lower. So as an example, I'll do like a shoulder press. I'll do a bench press. I'll do curls. And then I might do like tricep extension or something like that.
Right.
And then for legs, right, different types of squats or kettlebell swings, which are awesome for full body, right?
Right.
So yeah, you can use them for pretty much any type of training that you want to do, whether it's body weight, whether it's bands, whether it's, dumbbells, whatever you want to do.
That's cool. All right.
So
I'm definitely, I'm going to because I've been messing around and I've obviously been doing some stuff wrong, but even the bands that I have, I just mess around. So I'm going to get a set of those cuffs. Yeah.
Jump on Rock Cuffs. They've got some really good stuff. I mean, I think he's got them in for about like $125 or $130 for a set of arms, and basically the same thing, maybe like $10 more for the legs. So you're getting good quality because you can go grab like $30 or $20 bands off of, Amazon, but you get what you pay for too, right?
Right. So you're using the same cuff for the leg and the upper body?
So this is the upper. Same idea for the lower one, but it's just a bigger cuff.
Right. Yeah, so I see the set for arm and leg for $259 on there.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. That's awesome. So, okay, dude. So look, we're back on schedule. We're rolling, and yeah, it's good to see the guys on. We should start having some of the instructors on to start interviewing them again, see who wants to come on next, and then just schedule that at a convenient time for everybody. And let's get them in the rotation too, so we can have them on. Yeah, I mean, we've been on. I think this is a good place to stop right now because I think we'll keep it around now. There's a lot to talk about. What's going on, but let's. We got some good shit. We got the rock cuff. We got BFRT training. We got training with George. Really, really good, man. Really good.
Yeah. So anybody who does have an interest in BFRT, man, like take some time to research it because it's not for everybody, right? There's quite a few contraindications that do sort of come with it. People with history of like blood pressure, high blood pressure, clotting, shit like that. So be aware before you kind of like jump into it, right? Do your research. But Rock Cuffs is an awesome company to deal with as far as their product, as well as their support and the education aspect. So
you're right. And when you're doing anything, everybody is different. So even when you're talking about like diet, nutrition, exercise, that's why it's important to test things and do what feels good to you.
Yeah.
Right. And if something feels painful or feels like it doesn't, you're not, you don't feel like you're reacting well to it. Other than like obviously elevated heart rate and soreness is a little different, but you're going to want to, you're going to want to do stuff, right? If it's like too much of a pain in the ass, even though you want to get out of your comfort zone, but if it's something you really don't enjoy on some level, don't necessarily do it. But then in the same token, I'm lying because I'd be like, there's times I'm also like, oh, you fat fuck, get out of, get off your ass and do that shit and do something that you absolutely like sucks. But so what I'm saying is like, the more you do this, the more you understand your body and you understand, what different, the difference between, something that's causing you injury than something that's causing you discomfort.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I say to people. I mean, uncomfort is good, pain is bad, right? So understand the difference between the two. You're not trying to fucking hurt yourself, but you do need to push your comfort zones a bit, and that goes with everything. Goes with the training that we do, right?
Right.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this to give each other fucking black eyes about. I mean, there's just really quickly. There's some places out there with their training, and I mean, it looks like it's more for the MMA type person. They're literally beating the shit out of each other, and
right.
I believe that, everybody needs to get punched in the face at least once. However, there's some training that's just a little too extreme and doesn't make sense, especially for the average person. The average person, like we say, feel a little discomfort, but if you're feeling pain, then it's probably not a good thing.
Right. If it's causing you sharp pain, stop.
Yeah.
Right. If it's causing you a little discomfort or a little dull pain, start playing around with it. Go until it starts to like, when you feel that, and then you'll go. The next time you may be able to do less, but after a while you're going to start doing more. You're going to start building up a toughness and a tolerance. I mean, that's it. I mean, dude, you would come in, whether it was wrestling, judo, or football, or whatever, where you're like coming, especially like football, you'd come in and like that fucking first week, you're like, you start the first day of hitting, you're like, oh, my fucking head, my body. But then all of a sudden, it doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're moving towards the contact and you're actually enjoying it. So, same thing with all the other contact sports I did. First thing, like, oh, this fucking sucks. And then you're like, okay, here we go. And then it's like, it feels good. Let your body adjust. This is why guys who do these and girls who do these types of sports are just so fucking tough because their bodies are constantly being mashed. So, be patient. Again, like obviously, blood, bruising, swelling, that's a problem. That's your body's reaction to injury. So good shit, man. And let's get some of these other instructors on the call. If not, we'll pick it up again next week. Okay, thanks, brother. All right. Till next time, everybody, train honestly.